All right, good morning. The Pardon Board is reconvening. We're now at Louisiana State Penitentiary. It is 9:44 a.m. on Monday, January 27, 2025. I'll introduce myself. My name is Cheryl Renatza. My colleague on today's Pardon Board proceeding, to my left is Mrs. Carolyn Stapleton. To my immediate right, Mr. Steve Prater, and to his right is Mr. Pete Freeman. We are a four-member board today, so any action will require a unanimous vote. Would the staff there at Louisiana State Penitentiary please introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Darrell Vanola, the warden.
Rochelle Ambo, Deputy Warden.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Maureen Shipley, Offender Records.
All right, thanks for accommodating us this morning. And Mr. Alexander, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Cody Alexander, DOC number 557580.
And I see you have some folks there with you today. Let me see. I don't have them on my list. Would you introduce your guests there with you?
I have my father, Gary Alexander, and my mother, Julie Alexander. And I believe my father will be one speaking this morning as well.
Oh, yeah, I do have his name. It's listed that he's here. So, and I do have that he'll be speaking. So we'll call on him at the appropriate time. We have a host of folks who have joined us by Zoom. Speaking will be your friend Charles Benasdell. I'm sorry if I said that incorrectly. Here with us in Baton Rouge, we have Jared Nuoka, Benjamin Alexander, and Julie Alexander. Well, no, she's there.
Yes, ma'am, she's here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me correct that. She's there. Here also in opposition, we do have some folks on Zoom, but here with us in Baton Rouge, we have Laura Baker, Winfred Baker, Aaron Baker, and Patty Baker. By Zoom, we have Brett Summer, who will be speaking from the DA's office. First of all, Mr. Alexander, we'd like for you to tell, you have submitted an application for clemency, and we'd like to see, what are you seeking today, and why do you think we should vote favorably for you today? Let me just read your why you're in jail, Mr. Alexander. You are classified as a first felony offender. You were sentenced in the 21st Judicial District, Livingston Parish on August 20th, 2009. For manslaughter, you received a 40-year sentence. Obstruction of justice, you received a 10-year sentence. First-degree feticide, you received a 15-year sentence. All of those sentences are running, well, the 10-year sentence is running concurrently, but the 15-year is consecutive. So it's a total of 55 years. And you do have a mandatory good time release date, which is August 12th, 2045. So is that all that sound accurate to you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us why you're here and why should we vote for you today?
Well, I'd like to start by thanking the board for this opportunity. I'm sorry that we are here today. As you know, on June 28, 2008, I took the life of my wife and my unborn child. Of course, I then left the scene and lied to the police officers, and many of them, which were my friends at the time. And so I'm responsible for all that they say that I did. And I'm sorry for the things that I did, for the life that I took, and the pain that I did cause the Baker family. I can only imagine what they've went through these years, and I know because of me that they didn't get to see their granddaughter, and they didn't get to spend time with their daughter. And Aaron and Laura, they've had kids, and they didn't get to meet their aunt. And I think about all the time the things that the person that I took from this world, and she was a beautiful person, and I'm totally responsible for that. I know since I've been incarcerated, there's a lot that I've done that's good, or programs I've completed. But ma'am, I know I can't trade that for a life. I know I can't give back what I've taken as much as I'd want to. I know I can't. I can try to live a redemptive life, but even that's not good enough for what I've taken. I'm not the same young man, same 22-year-old that was full of pride, that was a coward, that was a fool, that was stuck on just himself, just trying to, live a life that was built around himself. I do have aspirations to maybe one day, if I get out as a young man, I want to help with disaster relief is a large part of what I'd like to do. I've had the privilege to train dogs for service animals for our veterans. I'd like to continue doing that once I get on my feet. But I believe I can be a productive member of society once again. And no matter what y'all choose today, whatever y'all choose to do today, I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing these past years. helping those I can here, whether it's teaching a class, whether it's tutoring, whether it's mentoring. No matter what happens today, that's not going to change.
Okay, sir, well, thank you. We'd like to hear from the facility warden, Benoit or Ambo. What can you tell us about Mr. Alexander?
Well, he's adjusted well. He's taken a lot of programs, as he said. He's only served 15 years on his sentence, but since he's been here, he's done well. He's taken advantage of a lot of programs.
Good, thank you, sir. Good to see you again.
Good to see y'all.
Okay, at this time, we'll hear from the folks who want to speak in support. And I think we have Mr. Charles is by Zoom. See if we can get him up. Be having some difficulty connecting. So while we're waiting on him, maybe we'll hear from your father, Mr. Alexander, there at the penitentiary. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all for your time. Well, what I can say, ma'am, is this about my son. As he grew up, he was a compliant young fellow, never had no trouble with him. But as he got older, as he started to work on his own, you could see pride come up in his life, and he was prideful. He's not the same anymore. And we do that particular day, June 28th, I remember the phone ringing at 5 minutes to 6. It was a bad day. It changed a lot of people's lives. It changed his, definitely changed the Bakers. It changed my wife and I and all his siblings. There was just a change. But since he's been in prison, I can say this. Number one, my wife and I, we're born again believers. We're Christians. As so the Bakers, they're born again believers. I can say this, being in prison, the Lord has used Cody at Evolves in here in a way that we've had at Evolves, we had mothers come up to us and say, thank you for training your son that he would spend his time with her son, giving him the word of God, that actually she saw a change in her son's life. And we had that to happen several times at Evolves. And I can particularly remember on one Sunday prior to church, we received a phone call. It was from a young man who just got out of Evolves. I don't remember his name, forgive me. And he said, Mr. Alexander, he said, when I went into prison, went to Evolves, he said, I wasn't worth killing. But he said, your son took time to open up the word of God to me, and it changed my life. Give all glory to the word of God, and thankful that he used Cody. He said, because of that, I'm a different man today, because he gave me the word. And he said, I'm out today. And that young man prayed with us over the phone, and it meant a lot to us, because all the ugliness, the sin, the scars that are taking place, we saw something good erupt out of something that should have been, that was so bad. But Cody's not the same fella he was when everything went down, when it happened. He's not that prideful fella anymore. And he does have support from home. He does have support from his church. He does have support from people in the community that know him. They are willing to support him and help him. And we're just asking today that if the board could just if they would show some mercy and cut some of his time, we would appreciate it as a family. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Yes, sir, and thank you for your remarks. We appreciate it. Mr. Charles, have you been able to connect to us yet?
Yes, ma'am, I am connected.
Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself. Tell us your relationship to Mr. Alexander, and what would you like us to know?
Okay, well, my name is Charles Van Osdale, and I've been a lifelong friend of the family. I grew up in church. Brother Gary and Miss Julie was my Sunday school teacher, and I've watched them grow. I've watched all their children grow up and grew up with some of them. And Cody and I also worked as first responders for several years together. And I would like to just give testimony to their family. They're one of the better families that I've ever known in my entire life. I would like to ask your board members for mercy. Cody has a support that most people would not have. He's got lots of family. He has lots of friends. And I believe Cody would come out a different person than what he went in. Like I said, we worked together for quite some time as first responders and different agencies. But I do think that if mercy was given, I think it would be very good for him and his family. Like I said, unlike a lot of people that do come out, Cody has a support that's just unbelievable, the support that he would have. I think that he would have no problems re-entering society again. Like I said, he's got so many friends and family in church that he could call on that could support him and help him be successful. I know it's unbelievable the testimony that their family has in the community. I can't think of one bad thing about the entire family that I could tell you. But I do know this: if you guys do decide to give him mercy, that he would definitely have the support, and I think it would be very successful for him and his family.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate your input,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
sir. All right, now we'll hear from the opposition. And we have on Zoom at the DA's office, Mr. Brett Summer. Could we hear from Brett, please?
Hey, good morning. Brett Summer from the Livingston Parish District Attorney's Office. We are on in opposition to this, to Mr. Alexander's request. I wanted to kind of provide some context. So Mr. Alexander was charged with second-degree murder, feticide, and obstruction. This case went to trial and was submitted to the jury. And while the jury was deliberating, the defense, so Mr. Alexander and his counsel, came to the state and said, would you consider a plea now? We'd take 55 years. So rather than risking a life sentence while it's already at the jury, he said, no, I want 55. So that was an agreement. And that was what was ultimately accepted. He pled guilty to those charges. I personally find it somewhat disingenuous to plead to take 55 when you're facing life and then come ask for a computation of sentence after 15 years. You know, and additionally, I think that it's really important just to remember that factually, this was not a manslaughter. This was a second-degree murder. And when I listen to Mr. Alexander speak today, it still seems to me that he is still holding on to this lie that this was some accident and that he didn't mean to do it. That's not the case. That's not what the evidence showed. That's not what he was tried for. This was a second-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 55 years. And anything less than that would be just an extreme deprecation of the offense. And I know that the family is opposed, and they're going to speak. We're extremely opposed. And so I would just ask you to consider all of those factors.
Thank you, Mr. Summer. We do appreciate your participation. So here with us, we have the Bakers. I'll let you folks decide who would you like to speak first. Ms. Patty Baker?
Yes.
Yes, I'm Patty Baker. I'm the mother of Krista and the grandmother of the unborn baby Margaret that seems to be disregarded here. But I understand y'all have a great responsibility today. I appreciate y'all being willing to step in. But I'm here today not seeking revenge, but justice for our daughter and granddaughter. And I want to introduce y'all to Krista. Krista was a kind, gentle young lady who loved and cared for people. She was 24 years old. She had 2 older brothers and 2 precious sister-in-laws in our family. Crystal traveled through her young life. She traveled throughout the U.S., Jamaica, Mexico, 3 times to the Philippines, 2 times to Romania, countless times out west, to the degree that after this happened, the camp that we used to work at for the Navajo kids, they changed the name to Camp Krista. She had a bachelor's degree in Christian education. She tutored a little girl with a bad speech impediment that she taught to speak. She served in the community there in Vita Springs, and she served so that they called us after this happened and asked us if we would take 3 plots there in town for her to be buried in. We had already made prior arrangements, but all that spoke highly of her. She loved her 3 precious grandchildren that we had in our family. But I'm here pleading with you that no matter what is said in Cody's defense, that you remember what happened. Krista was found in her home she had been on her knees in the closet for some reason. Cody put a gun to the back of her head and pulled the trigger. The gunpowder was on the back of her head and it left the imprint of the barrel on her skull. And she lay there dying. And the coroner told us that it took 5 to 8 minutes for the baby to drown. And she lay there dead and bleeding. He made the house look like a robbery. And then he went to work. We received a letter a few years later that some time had been knocked off of Cody's time already. We don't understand that, but received paperwork that said that. However, when he sent us a card for Christmas that had 7 to 8 people's other inmates' name on it, that was telling us that how bad we were and we shouldn't have Cody in prison. Nobody has Cody in prison but Cody. And we loved him. He was our son-in-law. And we loved him as our son. We've known him for at least 15 years. And but he took our daughter's life and our granddaughter's life. We took that card as a threat to our family. And for quite some time, we were fearful about that. We turned it in to the DA at the time. We don't have the card anymore. But that did cause us great fear. And our trust is in the Lord. But we live here on this earth. And it did cause us great turmoil. Our daughter-in-law here wound up in the hospital. We would forget to drink water. She dehydrated severely. We thought she was dying. She couldn't even walk. That happened just shortly after all this. But Cody killed Krista execution style on her knees. I had thought if I found out anything, if I ever found out she was on her knees, somehow I missed that. For a whole year I missed that. But she was on her knees. And he put the gun to the back of her head and cold-bloodedly pulled the trigger. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Hey, thank you, Baker. I'm the father of Krista and the grandfather of born baby was killed. And I know you received a statement by video from my son who lives in Alaska, Jason Baker, and I think he said some things very well. And just to the point, some of the same things that Patty has already said. And, you know, for a person to take the life of his wife and baby and then go off and work a 12-hour shift like nothing's ever happened is, you know, just speaks volumes to me. And, you know, it's one of those things that I hate to see anybody in prison, but sometimes that's where people need to be. And, you know, I don't hate Cody. The morning we got this news, about 6 o'clock in the morning, when I received the phone call that my daughter had been murdered, we gathered the boys. Jason was at work. He shift ended at 7, so he was there at the house by 7:15 or so. And about 7:30 that morning, Aaron and Laura and Jason, Sarah and Patty and I got on our knees in our living room. We prayed. We forgave as an act of our will whoever did this. We didn't know at that time that Cody had done this. So we forgave that offender, and we still do. On a daily basis, we forgive. But we don't have the authority to pardon. We only have the command of Scripture to forgive. And so he agreed to serve 55 years. And I think he needs to serve that time, whatever, you know, is in the law, as far as parole or whatever, that he needs to serve. I don't think there needs to be any reduction of his sentence. I would appreciate it if you would not agree to that today, to reduce his sentence in any way. Thank you for serving. I know you have an important job and part, and I appreciate all that you do for our state.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. And we did have the opportunity to review the video from Jason. We appreciate him taking to send that to us. Your case this morning, Mr. Alexander, has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. Can you answer any questions he may have, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Alexander, yeah, I'm not gonna waste a whole bunch of time. You know, your sentence was a result of a plea bargain, and it was definitely a second-degree murder. As, one of the victims stated, that baby lived 6 to 8 minutes after it was shot. So actually, I mean, this is a double murder in my mind. I don't know exactly how far along the baby was at that time, but still, I consider it a double murder. You've done well in prison, and I commend you on that. You do a lot of community service. I just want to note for the record, the sheriff and the DA, as the DA was on here, they're strongly opposed. The victim's family, Winford and Patsy, parents, Aaron and Jason brothers, and spouses Lauren and Sarah and Uncle Jeff. I mean, everybody's adamantly opposed, and you got to kind of understand why. I mean, it's kind of easy to see why. And you know, other than that, you know, you've had 4 DB write-ups, tons of classes, but as I say, 2 people did die, and I will give my reasoning and my vote afterwards. I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of questioning. I just want to present those facts so maybe that my other panel members, that would clear up some things in their mind. But I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Alexander, as in the opening, I noted that you do have a parole eligibility date. Generally, when we have a pardon hearing for someone who's incarcerated, parole eligibility is the relief that we would seriously consider granting. What is your expectation today? What is it exactly that you're asking for today?
Well, I guess the main reason why I wanted to have this here, knowing that I had a parole date eventually, was to once again just say that I'm sorry, as I stated in my application. I know this is just the clemency. It's an act of mercy from the board side, you know, because the charges are grievous, and there was a lot of pain and a lot of hurt, and I deserve to be where I'm at today. So I'm not saying I don't deserve to be where I am today. I'm grateful for everybody that spoke on my behalf, but I did want to have a chance to address the victim's family, the Baker family. And I went to court a few years after I got my time. And one thing Miss Patty said was, you know, Cody, there's nothing you can do there's no good amount of good enough that you can do that would bring her back or that would pay for your crime. And I guess as even a young man then, I didn't understand, but you know, taking classes like the victim awareness and different things I've been involved in, and watching the pain and the stride that I've heard that they've went through and endured in my family, I knew she was right, and I know she's still right there. I can't do enough to pay for the life that was taken. So this was just a chance to say again that I'm sorry, and just for the board review any rehabilitation that they may have seen in me.
All right, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. I think we are prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman, would you?
Yes, sir. Once again, Mr. Alexander, keep doing what you're doing in prison and helping others. But like I say, 33%, not even 33% of your time on this serious nature of a charge is not close to long enough in my mind. So my vote today is to deny.
Thank you, Mrs. Stapleton.
Mr. Alexander, I agree with everything that the district attorney said. I agree with everything that the family said. This was a brutal, heinous crime. You need to serve the full 55 years. That's what you agreed to. She didn't agree to be murdered by you. She said, I do. But his family has to live with that. You brought that on everybody. And because I have been with families that their loved one was murdered by their husband, and they were long members of their family, I can tell you that for them, the betrayal was something that they had the hardest time also to overcome, because I'm sure these people loved you. And they saw you as a member of their family that would never do this to their daughter. And I know that to be a fact because I've sat with too many families that this was bad thing. So for all of these reasons, I'm going to
deny your request. Mr. Pardon.
Deny victim opposition and not enough time served.
And I also deny for the same reasons that have already been stated. So keep up what you're doing, Cody. You're doing some good work in prison, but for now, that's where you'll be. Your application for clemency has been denied today, sir.